What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel and you're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear. Here today we're going to be checking out this bad mama jama of a budget knife right here, the Win++ 3344. It seems to be the model name. Again, I've just been having a blast with these knives because, I mean, for the most part, they don't really get too creative with the name. So they use some letters and some numbers. Always been a gripe of mine. How come they don't give it like a creative name, if you will, and things like that. But we'll get more into that. This one here was actually sent to the channel from Andy. He goes by Glorybound EDC on Instagram, so make sure to check him out and give him a follow. He has tons of knives and EDC gear that he shares there on a daily basis, and he will also be starting a channel here pretty soon, so hopefully in the near future I'll keep you guys posted. So again, huge thanks to Andy. For the record, he's the very first viewer that has sent out gear to the channel. So if you would like to send some gear to the channel, let me know. Inbox me on Instagram, whichever one you prefer. That being said, guys, there'll be affiliate links for this knife and every other knife you see in this video down below in the description. So make sure to check those out if you're interested in checking out any of these knives. Those links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. That being said, let's get things started here with an overall length on this knife, and this one is coming in at around a little bit less than 3 3/4. It's more like 7.65 inches, it looks like. As far as the blade, we have a total of 3 1/4. It might be 3 1/4 as far as cutting edge as well. And the handle, that's going to come in at 4.5 inches on the handle right there. As far as materials, what do we have? What are we working with materials wise? Well, we have sort of like a carbon fiber looking G10. How about that? It is G10 scales, and they have a pattern to them that make them look carbon fiber. So if you're into that, they definitely have that whole rectangle shape pattern design going on there. It makes it look carbon fiber-ish, but it's G10. And as far as the blade, we have a D2 blade with a very, very accommodating and large opening right there. Pretty significant blade opening if you ask me. It is going to be a flat grind up until here with that blade opening there. And this thing has a very interesting release mechanism that we're going to get into. So let's just get some quick size comparisons out of the way here next to some other knives that I've been reviewing here so far. Here's the Sitivien. These are part of knives that Andy also sent in and I have already reviewed, so check these out in the channel if you're interested. This is the Sitivien ST132. This is the Sitivien ST131, and yeah, this guy is going to be a little bit more on the medium range, right? Definitely much smaller than the other guys for sure. And then there's one other Sitivien knife right here, the Sitivien 128 or 128. So these are all part of the same bundle. I'm doing a series, a whole box that Andy just sent in with a bunch of knives, mainly Sitivien knives, but then there's this gem right here, this Win++, which is the knife for this video that we're reviewing, that I'm been just really impressed with. You'll see why in a moment. The usual suspects right here, the PM2 from Spyderco, the Para 3 right there. Actually, it's a happy medium between the Para 3 and the PM2, right? You guys be the judge there. It's a little bit bigger than the PM2, a little bit bigger than the Para 3 and smaller than the PM2. All right. Next we have, let's see. Here's the regular Demko AD 20.5, so a little bit bigger than that. Here's the brand new Demko AD 20.5 Shark Cub, right? Baby shark, Anyways, the Shark Cub right here is going to be a little bit smaller, right? So it is definitely a little bit longer than these two. And of course, we have to do the classics right here. The Wrap Model 1 is going to be bigger. Wrap Model 2 is going to be smaller. So this guy is going to be somewhere in between right there. All right. So how is the action? How is the action on this bad boy? So you have at least 3 different deployment options going on here. So you got the flipper. All right, let's start with the basics. So you can flip deploy this guy, okay? And we're gonna get into disengagement in a moment. You can reverse flick, Boom, probably my favorite because of how intuitive it is to stick your finger there and flip it, no pun intended. And then you can thumb deploy all day, every day too. So what is different about this knife is the blade release, right? So it is not a crossbar lock or anything. So this thumb stud here doesn't roll back and forth. It actually goes up and down, right? It gets you a little bit closer here to get a better view. You see right there, it doesn't go side to side, it goes up and down. So what's happening here is there's this bar. I'll show you what happens when I push up on it. By the way, it's also accessible on both sides, so you could do it with one finger, your index finger or your thumb. It's actually pretty good for lefties too. Pretty good and ambidextrous friendly knife. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you see, when you push up on this thumb stud, because that's exactly what it is. It is an actual thumb stud, just not where you would typically see it, but instead in the actual handle right there. Push up on it and it does this, right? It releases the blade. So you sort of see this little bar right here, that right there is what's getting actuated and what actually locks the blade in place when it comes up. And the moment you push up on it, it releases the blade like that. This guy is on ball bearings. It's very nice and smooth. And then in order for it to click back on, right, there's a detent going on there where it has to, right, basically close. Is a pretty good detent actually. And you know, the way to close it is, if you do it too soft, you're not going to close it all the way. So it does have that sort of crossbar lock feel to it, even though it's not a crossbar. The best way to close it shut is to give it a good flick of the wrist like that with enough enthusiasm so you can close it shut without issues, right, like that. Okay, and this mechanism here does not work for releasing the blade. You're probably wondering, okay, maybe if I push it down now, it will release the blade, but that's not the case. So it only works for the disengagement portion. Yeah, no matter how hard I press down on those thumb studs, it's not gonna release the blade. So still either flipping it, reverse flicking it, or thumb, deploying it. Those are the three. But again, I just thought that it was just so unique for this knife to have this very interesting new mechanism here for releasing the blade that I haven't seen in any other knife. Again, it is not a crossbar lock, or if it is, it doesn't function in the same fashion that you're used to. Typically, again, this one's up and down instead of side to side. That being said, it is a very, very fidgety knife. If you haven't gotten the hint by now, it is very, very nice and fun to release, deploy, close, rinse, and repeat, right? Very, very interesting for this kind of knife. You have a deep pocket carry clip, which is nice and nested. The screws are also nested. That's a win right there. If that wasn't enough, boom, it is reversible and you can do it on this side as well. They put a nice blue accent right there, which matches the pivot color right here that has the logo. Win Plus has a blue pivot color going on there on both sides. And I'm telling you, this is not bad for an ambidextrous knife. D2 flat grind blade and multiple deployment options. All right, I'm gonna let you guys guess, if it isn't on the title already, how much this guy costs. You can just pause the video, put your guess in the comments, and then press play again, because I'm about to tell you this thing comes in at 20 doll hairs. All right, $20, you guys, $20 right here for this knife. And $19.99 or something like that. Like round it up to 20 bucks. 20 bucks for a G10 D2 blade. It doesn't get better than that. So yeah, there is a reason right there to be impressed for what this guy brings to the table. So let's keep going through the review here. Let's do a quick carry profile. Let's do the thickness here against the PM2 and therefore the Para 3. It's going to be a little bit thicker. Also, the thumb stud section is going to make it a little bit thicker than that even. The Demko AD 20.5 is going to be thicker than that. The Wrap Model 1, right, therefore it's going to be thicker than the Wrap Model 1 and therefore the Wrap Model 2. All right, and length and height in the pocket here, right, if I put it next to the, go in reverse order, Wrap Model 1, Wrap Model 2, right, compares most with the Wrap Model 1, even though it's just a little bit taller right here because of the blade and how much that sticks from the handle. So there's that. Let's do the Demkos. Again, these are going to be much taller too because of how much the blade sticks from the handle. Here's the Shark Cub as well. Pretty comparable, if anything, to the Shark Cub, I want to say. Yeah, that's probably around where it is. Very similar to the Shark Cub, even though it has a little bit longer length. And of course, the PM2 and Para 3 are going to take the cake because of the Spidey hole, but the Win++ isn't too far behind either. So there you have it, some quick carry profile comparisons. You guys be the judge there. Let's do, is there any milling going on? This guy is solid. So solid stainless steel liners going on, which are exposed. You do have a little bit of, this is not a backspacer, but this is part of the mechanism itself, which is so unique. I wonder if there's a name for this. I wonder if they have any sort of name for this specific locking mechanism. But yes, no milling going on either side, aside from a little bit of a cutout right here. It's sort of, I want to say it sort of works like a liner lock, but not quite, not quite. You do have a stub pin right here, right, for the blade. And this is where it clicks, click. So, this is a quick blade stock thickness then. A very, very thin blade, only at 0.11 inches, 0.11 inches right there on the blade. So that's not bad. On the handle though, if I measure just the G10 portion, it's going to be 0.56. But if I measure what those thumb studs are on the handle, that portion is going to be 0.77 inches. All right, so you guys be the judge there. All right, giving you some different measurements. And as far as the weight, I want to say, because it is not milled, feel a little bit, yeah, it's definitely lighter than some of the Sitivien knives. I want to say maybe 4.5 ounces. Let's of course measure it and see how well my hand scales are. 4.5, just close enough, give me some grace. 4.3 ounces right there on the weight, which is not bad. Actually not bad, some substantial weight for a knife this size. Not the most feather knife out there, but also not the heaviest either. It's a good weight. Let's do a quick hardware check as usual. My tools are highly recommended and linked down below in the description. Those affiliate links will help out the channel at no extra cost to you. Now, I am seeing a ton of small hardware on this guy, so that might be something, a sunk right there. So start with the pivot, because that's good news. That is going to be a TA. So TA going on the pivot there, that's good. And then I feel like everything else is tiny hardware. T6 on the body screws. Yep, T6 throughout. Even on these thumb studs, that's going to be a T6 as well. On the pocket clips, T6 also. So typically, you know, other brands like Sencut, right? Sitivien and We Knife's most affordable budget brand. Sencut, those go for $40 or $45, $35, the most affordable one, and they tend to do the same. They tend to put small hardware T6 everywhere else except the pivot, which is typically a T8. So I wouldn't really give these guys a hard time, because this knife again is $20, right? Did I mention this thing is $20? Because it is certainly $20. So yeah, can't really complain too much for a $20 knife right there that has a D2 blade. This is a very slicey satin finish blade, by the way. So we'll be doing some quick cutting tests here in a moment just to show what that looks like. Ergonomically speaking, this thing is pretty good. The handle kind of, you know, goes down, like curves down a little bit, but you put your index finger here, all the other fingers sort of follow suit there. And again, I have medium hands. They're not the biggest, not the largest, not the smallest, but you know, still got plenty of handle there. It would have been nice to have a forward choke option, and you sort of can. You just have to be very, very careful because it's not the most round option. So a more well-defined round option would have been, you know, a plus right there. The blade is a fingerprint magnet too. So there's that, of course, with any satin finish blade. If anything, give it a good wipe and you are good to go. Of course, you want to, you know, wipe your blade after you're done using it, so it's nice and ready for the next time you need it. Yeah, so I feel like you can still forward choke, but you just be very, very careful, know what you're doing, because the edge of, you know, basically the corner of the edge is right here. So the plunge grind could have been pushed back a little bit more. Instead, the plunge grind ends right where the edge ends. So, you know, you're going to get a smile when you sharpen this guy. At some point, again, did I mention this is a $20 knife? Because it truly is still a $20 knife. So it's not going to break the bank. The things I'm talking about here will be nice to have, but how much are you really asking for a $20 knife? So yeah, that's you know, something that could have been executed a little bit better. but nothing too serious for the price range that this knife comes in. No jimping going on either on the liners, the handle portion, or on the blade itself. That would have been nice to have. All the other Sitivien knives, you know, have a decent amount of jimping going on as usual. You know, jimping comes very handy when, you know, making very, you know, precise, you know, cuts and things like that. You want to make sure that knife doesn't go anywhere from your hand. Would have been nice to have here. Me personally, I would have preferred it. No back spacer going on, you know, sandwich construction with some spacers going on right there, barrels going on. That's about it, right? Got a lanyard hole going through on both ends. So if you're into lanyards, you're gonna see that. You're on both sides, you're good to go there. And honestly, it's a pretty straightforward knife. Pretty straightforward for 20 bucks. Win Plus, it's a budget brand off of Amazon that I know I have heard some good things from. I know I've seen it in other channels featured, and everyone's been pretty impressed with how they perform. Again, ambidextrous knife, deep pocket carry, it's milled for lefties. Got a lot going on here. This D2 blade is awesome, and it cuts like crazy, as I shall demonstrate now. Keep in mind, it has gotten some use, so it will cut. I just gotta make sure I, you know, catch the paper at a good angle. Boom, right? See? It definitely will cut. And keep in mind, this is not out of the box sharp or anything like that. Again, if there's anything that is consistent with all of these knives that I'm checking out from Andy, is that he tells me that these are his beater knives. These are his beater knives. So cut a little bit right there. Definitely probably will need a strap at this point. That would definitely help a bit. But even with the non-factory edge, still cutting like a champ. All right. Boom. Now, can it cut cardboard, right? It sure can cut cardboard, as you'll see in a moment here. Remember, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular like this, but rather at an angle like that. And boom. Yeah, it can cut cardboard, all right, all day, every day. As a matter of fact, I did do some cardboard cutting with this guy. Out of all the knives that Andy sent over, this was the one that I was the most impressed with, and therefore it was also the one that I ended up EDCing the most as well. And yeah, just very impressed with the release mechanism, how fidgety it was, how good this D2 blade is, and how well it performed. I mean, a lot of value going on here for 20 bucks. Well, there you have it. There is the Win Plus 3344, I believe is the model name. Again, I don't know what the thing is with these Chinese manufacturers, but you know, give the knife a unique name or model name if you can, because it's just going to help it stand out from a sea of models that have a bunch of numbers and letters that people have a hard time remembering. If you can think of a unique name to give a knife, that is certainly going to help that knife stand out. That would be a personal recommendation there. But aside from that, guys, solid knife, everything that we have already discussed, you know, ambidextrous, fidgety, reliable. Did I mention $20? All right, I'm gonna tell you again, 20 bucks. So it makes a great beater knife, great secondary, a knife that you're not gonna be afraid of beating on, a good gift for a friend, family member, someone who you're trying to get into EDC and carrying a knife for the first time and you don't wanna break the bank. Boom, 20 bucks, right? 20 bucks right here. And if you're carrying maybe a more premium knife and you're looking for a good secondary as your beater, boom, here it is. This is a knife for you again. Did I mention 20 bucks? Well, there you have it. I'm not going to say it no more. If you're interested in checking out this guy, those links will be down below in the description for you to check it out. If you're interested on picking up this knife or any other knife and you use those links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. That being said, also check out the review on the other Sitivien models. These are all the knives that Andy sent over. The ST132, that's a $30 knife right there. The ST131 right here, another $30 knife, and this other one right here, the ST128. Boom, awesome, great budget options right here. If you're doing some shopping for a budget knife this holiday season, you can't go wrong with any of these. They're not gonna break the bank, right? You're gonna have a good knife that's gonna last you a long time. budget knives. That's what they are. We all love budget knives because of how much value they bring to the table, right? How much of a bang for the buck we get. That being said, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for sticking with me until the very end. If you haven't already subscribed and liked the video, check out the Patreon link down below where you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Thank you all so much for all your love and support. I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Take good care. Peace.